Hi, I'm back again, Linda Rumpf, reading tutor and parent support coach. And I'm here today with two very special guests, the homeschool moms. And we have with us Amanda Peterson and Katie Hill. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
And so I invited Amanda and Katie to come on and talk with me about the class that they took that I gave this past summer for homeschool parents to be able to deliver reading intervention with real reading intervention techniques right in the home. So we were just talking and chatting at our class, and they started spouting out all these great things about the class. And I thought, okay, parents need to really hear this, because I think it'll be very supportive for all of the audience to hear what's possible. And, you know, it's my little class, so yeah, this is a plug for me, but just, I really feel like as we all bemoan the situation in the United States with 2/3 of fourth graders not reading on grade level, et cetera, that parents are this overlooked gem resource. You know, we've got people in the home, boots on the ground with these kids. And while we're trying to change the schools, that doesn't happen very quickly. So homeschool parents are in this absolutely fabulous position where you have your kids 24/7. But even parents whose kids go to school, you can do this. If you're not getting what you need at school, you know, you can learn what you need to learn. And that's something that I do, is teach that. So, okay, ladies, let me start by just throwing out a question, which is, what were you experiencing with your child that caused you to search for help?
Who do you want to go first?
I'll go. So I reached out because I was at an overall loss as to what my child was capable of and what she actually produces and all this stuff. And so I saw a free assessment and I thought, I'm going to do it because it's a free assessment. Maybe she'll tell me that I'm what I need to know, which is exactly what happened. And then it ended up being totally opposite of what I thought the problem actually was. And so, like I said, I just went for the free assessment. I was just plugging for the free stuff. And then it ended up being a really great experience that I actually ended up getting a whole nother session with Miss Linda for.
She says she got a whole nother session. She did the class. Amanda did the class for 6 weeks and Katie did it too for 6 weeks. And now Amanda's in her second 6 weeks. Like, they re-upped.
That's awesome.
So it is so fun because we get to just keep going with her daughter and build on what we learned in the class. So Amanda, you said that it when you first reached out, the results of the assessment and what you learned in the class about your child weren't really what you expected. So what were you thinking you needed when you first reached out?
So, I have a 7-year-old. She was in public school for pre-K, kindergarten, and just a little bit of first before I pulled her out. Right when I pulled her out, she had taken a statewide mandatory dyslexia screener, and she failed it by over half. But the school was not concerned, and I was very concerned. And so whenever I pulled her out, I thought she has to have dyslexia if she failed the screener that bad. And then ended up she does not. So that was a whole thing. But that was kind of the big issue, was that she like epically bombed the first grade New Mexico statewide mandatory dyslexia screener.
So tell us why you think she failed the screener.
Now that I know why she failed the screener, I can definitely confidently tell you why. Because she is twice exceptional. She is autistic, and it is like she masked. It's almost impossible to assess her. So she just doesn't care to show you what she knows. And so like, it's incredible what we've gotten compared to her faking whatever she was faking to where we're at now, which is her not gladly showing you what she knows, but definitely more willing.
Yeah, she's reading, she's, you know, writing, she's drawing, she's
independently as well. Like that's another thing. Like I sent you a little picture. What like we've been doing clay work at the end of our session, because like it seems like the art therapy that Miss Linda has been able to do has really thrown her into like another category of being like self-aware in so many realms, and so in and out of academic, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But she I went to work yesterday as soon as we were done, and my husband stayed home with her, and Howdy made her own cat completely by herself without any help. My husband wasn't paying attention to what she was doing, you know what I mean? And so like she's doing things like independently for fun, which is not something she did before.
Yeah, it's super wonderful. And you mentioned the art, the you know, some people don't know about me that I started as a Waldorf teacher. Mm-hmm. And so the therapeutic arts are really big in Waldorf, and they dovetail into the academics. So mm-hmm. for instance, if a child their writing is all over the place on the page, you know, they're an emerging writer, and we help them to start drawing earth and sky and mm-hmm. what's in the middle. And then they start to be able to place things on the two-dimensional page. And then suddenly the writing starts to fall in line. I mean, not suddenly, okay? It takes some time. And with clay work, we were rolling balls for the heads of those little cats we were making with Amanda's daughter. And then the next day, she makes a perfect circle. Mm-hmm. on the paper. And I hadn't mm-hmm. seen that before from her. And so it's like these forms, when you make a form, you know, the great artists like the Michelangelo sculptures, right? He was a sculptor, and his feeling for form was what gave him the ability to communicate that onto the two-dimensional page. It mm-hmm. translates, like what we do with our bodies translates mm-hmm. to what we can put on the page. So there's a whole therapeutic aspect to that. But Amanda, I really appreciate you, because when I suggested to you that we go into these therapeutic arts to support the reading and writing, she was just like, okay, like she got it. And so I love that.
And it's helped her like outside of academics, like on our daily day, Howdy rides a pony, and the pony's really good, but Howdy would not ride him by herself. She wanted me to lead him, which is not a big deal. But she went from just, it's hard to explain if you don't ride horses, but she went from just like not understanding the concept of you're in control or this and that. And we've started, I don't know if it's just, I'm saying it comes together, because she started the art and she started understanding like boundaries and more stuff completely outside academic things, mm-hmm. which for me and my child is important, because her life is highly affected by her autism and things like that. So like, and we have had services that did make zero progress on my daughter. Mm-hmm. Linda is the first one that her grandparents, my husband, people that don't know Howdy well, I've noticed a big jump in her just awareness in general, mm-hmm.
which is just so awesome. Yeah, the clay work especially, huh? It's mm-hmm. like, well, when I studied art, my first graduate experience was studying art psychotherapy. Mm-hmm. So I learned that when we make anything, like if it's a drawing or sculpture, it's a projection of self. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like a little mirror mm-hmm. of ourself. Everything's a self-portrait that we do, right? Mm-hmm. And so that form, we're working with Amanda's daughter on closing forms. So the first most easy way to close a container is to invert it. You just take a bowl and put it over. Oh, now it's closed. Lids mm-hmm. are harder. We'll get to lids later. Mm-hmm. But when we do these things, when we make these forms in clay, it has a deep effect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you experience closed container, then you experience a feeling of boundary yourself. So
confidence is something that she has shown, sure of herself, very confident, where before very not confident. All like in general, she's happy to do things now. Like it, she really has kind of like opened Pandora's box with my little complex child.
That's so great. So Katie,
Yeah.
you've been such a good listener. So tell us what you were looking for when you reached out.
Well, I've been homeschooling for 11 years now. I have 6 kids, and I have successfully taught 4 to read. And I was really, really struggling with my 4th child. I could not get her. We would make a little bit of progress, and then we felt very stuck in where we were. She was at grade level with her vocabulary and her behavior, but her reading skills were incredibly low. And we got to a point where my 5th child started passing. He actually passed her up in his reading. He's a year younger than her. And every year I was diligent about researching curriculum and trying to find ways, new and different ways to, introduce reading to her and help her. And over the years, I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing and nothing was really working. We weren't making any progress. And we were really, really stuck. And I felt like if I could just find somebody who would teach me the skills that I need to get her to read and to help her, I knew that I could do it, but I just couldn't find the resources. And so one day I was sitting reading my email, and I got put on Linda's email list, and she wrote a blog post about a little girl who, wasn't reading at grade level. And I resonated so much with the post. And so I saw the free assessment, and I immediately reached out and wanted to get an assessment for my daughter. And she also had some like dyslexia markers. She was inverting letters, and we just really struggled. She could read words individually, but then once we got like a paragraph or multiple sentences on a page, she would get lost, and she just could not power through. And so after the assessment with Linda, I realized that this would be a really good fit. And I felt like, especially with the offer to teach me to do what you do, that was selling for me.
I especially love that because when I had this idea that I could teach parents to do what I do, and I knew I could do it in like 6 weeks.
Oh yeah.
And that they could get up and running. And I figured, okay, I'll tell them, like, I'll give them a certain amount of months where they can always touch base with me if they have questions and things like that. But I just was like, this ain't rocket science. And, my colleagues were mad at me.
Really?
Some of my colleagues, well, not mad, but some of them were like, you better not do that because you're going to put yourself out of business. And I said, no.
Yes, it's anything. No.
No way.
There are always going to be kids who need tutored, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like if you look at the numbers of children who need reading intervention and tutors, we have like 40,000 tutors. I think when I read the last census, there's like 40,000 tutors in the US, and there's like millions of children now reading below grade level. Like, it's not even a thing. Okay, we're not going to be out of business. Right. But in order to make a difference, to start getting parents up and running with what you need to do. And my idea is that it could be like a movement across the whole United States where parents just know this stuff. Like, it's just something you do at home. You have your child read to you every night, for 15 or 30 minutes, depending on their age, right? You just copy down the miscues while they're reading, you form your lesson, all these things that I do. I feel like, well, you tell me. I mean, when you learn these techniques in the class, did you feel like, oh, I can do this?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Even with mine, who like as a baby, as an infant, as a toddler, if I cracked a book and read to her, she exited the room. She did not let me do it. So like, I mean, even for me, where I have a very unconventional child,
Mhm.
I'm able to do it. And that's
Yes.
crazy.
Mhm.
Crazy talk.
Yes.
And confidently. And I
Yeah.
also understand you have taught me to understand like limits as well. Like just because I want something doesn't mean that it's going to get done today. And that taught me how to be a better teacher in general too.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I can do like what you're saying when I talk about math, like you're like, you can do math too. Like just figure out, I mean, all the skills that you have taught me and Katie,
Mhm.
now that me and Katie are friends, we're mind blown.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the amount of knowledge and how easy it was to access, how free it is to get. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like I never thought of any of that prior to you telling me to do it or giving
Yeah.
me the information to do it.
Definitely. Yep.
I'm so happy that you both had such a good experience. You know, you mentioned a little about becoming a better teacher, and one of the things that kind of blew me away was that I felt like some of the deepest work that we did was around soft skills. You know, like it wasn't so much that the booklet or the workbook, I mean, it was all kind of out there and you could both understand it. But then when there were conflicts that you might have with the child over like doing the lesson or, you know, reading refusal, things like that. And we had to work through those. And I was like, oh, this is the biggest deal is the soft skills. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't think that majority of the work was going to be on that.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little about how that was for you?
Like for me, I just didn't know what we were capable of. And there was I say there was no skill, but she was lacking it. What my daughter was lacking was not her reading ability and all this stuff, which I thought it was the soft skills that I have had people, occupational therapist, whatever, years trying to fix this child or whatever you want to call it with zero progress. I mean, I have IEP proof data that she was in occupational therapy for 3 years and had zero progress. So like the soft skills in the end, what was missing out of our entire being in and out of school. But how am I supposed to fix it if I don't know what to do? You know what I mean? And I didn't know what to do. If that makes any sense for my personal experience. You know what I mean?
Yep. I was floored by Linda's observation. I felt like I changed just as much as my daughter changed in how we were functioning together, because after years of just banging our heads against the wall, trying to find a way to get her to read when I knew she could do it, we just had developed a very dysfunctional, I guess, reading relationship, honestly, where she didn't like to read. She didn't like to do lessons with me. I had a very hard time getting her to sit down, and she was the one that required the most of my attention. In my homeschool, she needed the one-on-one, very focused work. And what Linda observed was that we both just operate at different paces in life. I have a million things on my plate, and so I move forward very quickly. And I need to go from one thing to the next, and I kind of check everything off as I go because I have to get on to the next thing. Whereas my daughter did not operate like that. She needed a lot of repetition. She needed more fun activities. And especially, she needed time to process, and I was not giving her that time. Linda gave her so much patience, so much grace. I mean, just pointed out within, I think it was like the second lesson that you pointed out, just the behavior between the two of us and how my daughter had become so dependent on looking to me for the answers because she knew I was expecting it immediately. And she wasn't processing that fast, and she wasn't able to give an answer as quickly as I wanted her to. So we kind of got in this codependent relationship where she would be angry and frustrated, and then she'd look to me for the answers, and I would give it to her because I needed to move on to the next thing. Yeah. And so I had to learn soft skills about her and like learn for myself how to be softer and more gracious and gentler with how quickly we moved forward and not feeling like I have to check the boxes. So that was huge. That was, I mean, I really think I changed as much as you helped my child improve. I changed in how I operated in my relationship, and it really repaired our relationship. So now we're able to have these lessons, and it took probably the 6 weeks for her to be able to sit through a full hour of hard work. You know, she had really struggled to sit for that amount of time. So now I feel like we're in a really good place. I've allowed her to do more of the leading in the learning, just being more conscious about when she needs to stop. And those were skills that I didn't have before.
100%. Everything Katie said, 100% on my part too.
Yeah. It's big.
Yeah, it's huge. For me and mine, because mine we just walk this little path that's so unique. It is crazy. Like, I feel like she's finally where she needs to be for her age, not so much academically, which is crazy because that's the whole point of this whole thing was academics. Yeah. But for us, her life outside of the academics has really blossomed because of the change in mindset, for sure.
Definitely. And I think I always was searching for like a curriculum, Linda. You provided me with a lot of confidence in my ability. Like, some of these things, I just didn't even know where to begin. And so I was always, as a homeschool mom, it's like, I just need a curriculum that will walk me through each step, and then I can just keep going. But every curriculum failed. I mean, I just wasn't able to get her. We just hit a plateau where she wasn't improving at all. And so the skills that you taught me, and just, it allowed me to be a little bit more creative with my homeschooling, and, you know, focus on smaller tasks at a time. And it's been a real struggle for me to figure out how to homeschool that way. I'm very, you know, married to many curriculums because I have so many kids and I have to walk them all through it. It's hard to be creative with every single subject and every single child. But you really helped me to, you taught me how to research, which I knew how to research curriculum, but I didn't know how to research the issues I was having with reading. I hadn't even thought about the things that you taught me in research, and how to look for, hey, I'm having this trouble with her in a lesson. Here's what I'm noticing. And then digging into journal articles and reading, and a lot of that research you've done for us. And then you write a blog about it, and then we get to just benefit from the results of that.
That's true. The resources, yes. The resources that Linda has provided for me has when I say completely changed, like, our life, like crazy. And I'll say that too, because I'm like, whoa. Good.
That's so true. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Amanda, you told me about your research too. I'm glad you mentioned the research, because it's like something that I stick at the end of the class, because I'm kind of like, are they going to like it? Are they going to, you know, think this is weird? But you know, the people who took the class, all the moms just love the research part.
It's free, and we can do it in bed when I finally have a time to do it. And you get, because so like when you Google stuff, all you get is like ABC Mouse, at least for my age class. All this stuff that's probably great. I mean, I use Acellus, and we like Acellus, and it's great. We're probably not going to switch from it. Howdy likes it. But being able to find actual information on people who actually know that, because like how they dealt with the kid. I mean, even the books that you've recommended to me, the book that you recommended to me has been life-changing. And then the books within the book that I'm reading has like I have my sister, actually, because her daughter is completely fine, but she's a hardcore rodeo athlete. There's a book called Mindset that was referenced in the book about the twice exceptional students. And now my sister is reading that. So, I mean, like, it is like the roots are. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then what Katie and Amanda are referring to about the research, and if for all of you parents who are in the audience here, if you bought the little workbook that goes along with this summit, okay, in there you'll see it. But there's a research framework that I give that's easy. It's just like a one-page infographic, but it teaches you how to put whatever topic that you're researching into the Google box and put the words journal article after it. I mean, it ain't rocket science, okay? But you'd never think of that, right?
No.
But that's what we learn in you know, when you're trying to get a master's. That's what I learned in grad school. And I remember, Katie, you remarked to me a couple weeks back, or I don't know if it was you, Amanda, or you, Katie, who was saying, well, yeah, maybe people who have been to graduate school know this.
Mhm.
But if
Yeah.
you haven't, then you wouldn't necessarily know
Mhm.
that all the science
Yeah.
is out there waiting for you. If you don't put in journal article after the thing you're looking for, you're just going to get whatever pop culture stuff is going to come up.
Yep.
Whoever basically paid for the Google ad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. It's true.
It's true.
Yeah, I never had thought to apply that to the
Mhm.
issues I was having. That sounds
And it
silly,
has been a
but
game changer.
I was just very reliant on somebody else kind of creating a system for me and then me just being able to follow it. And you really proved that there's a lot out there and that I can do myself, that I can find out for myself. People, there's so much information that can help me.
Yeah.
And I can create my own lessons and I can, you know, work with my child in a way that I've never done before. And we can, I don't know, be successful. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's eye-opening for sure. And like, and especially because like, I mean, me and Katie happen to just be hairstylists. I don't know how many schooling you went to before or after cosmetology school, but I mean, cosmetology school, we don't really research much, at all, you know? And so for us to be able to get that master's like secret, and then I talk to other people who have their masters and they're like, yeah, that's what you have to do. And I'm like, but y'all don't tell, you know what I mean? It's like you don't tell.
Who knew?
Hairdressers don't tell their secrets either. So like we get it.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then when you were talking, both of you, I want to speak this out because I feel like it's powerful. When you were both talking about, and this happened for both of you, that one of the things we really needed to work on was pace.
Yes.
Right. And so the saying is slow is fast.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's the saying among reading interventionists. That's one of our little secret sayings. Right. But it's not such a big secret. I mean, we want people to hear this, that if you slow down to the child's pace, they make a step and then they make the next step and then they make the next step. And it's like the tortoise and the hare. Okay. They are going to get there so much faster than if we pressure, and they spent a year resisting us.
Yeah. Or two. I mean, yeah.
And then like for me, you had to spend a year breaking the anxiety down.
Yeah.
Like we just tapped into that with the second session with us was like, I kept telling her she doesn't like to handwrite. And like now Miss Linda has seen really how much she doesn't like to do it. And I told her just yesterday, I caused it and I'm super sorry. We're going to fix it.
Yeah.
That was on me, I think. That did that.
It's hard. It's painful to go slow.
So like in our little program that we do, there's so many steps a week. And I have even bumped our steps back to the bare minimum where now my child is doing them pretty independently, which I know she can because she's very smart. But if you'd have told me to bump it down last year, I'd have been like, no, absolutely. I'd have told you, heck no. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now I'm like, ooh, she struggled. Let me bump that down.
Yeah.
And it's like smooth as fast. Not so much slow as fast, but if everything's going smoothly, it's fast.
Smooth as fast. Yeah. And and the real technical jargon for it is reducing cognitive overload, right? That we have to reduce the cognitive load because they've got this whole other task they're doing just to process.
Right.
And my daughter does not have that much control of her. She has, I mean, when I say very little, her main problem is her amygdala works really fast and it controls her frontal cortex. So like it is her problem is that. And so, like I was asking a lot of her and not asking, I'm going to say it. That was demanding a lot of her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I know we talked about this too. There's a fine line when you're the parent and you're the teacher. It's tricky to know how much of it, some of it is just rebellion or defiance because your mom, they don't want to do what you're asking. And so you're put in this position where you're trying to raise them to be respectful and obedient, but at the same time, they're dealing with cognitive overload and you have to show them grace. And it was very hard for me to just discern the difference. Yeah. I just didn't know if she just hated me and hated reading and so she was just, rejecting that, or if she was really overwhelmed and couldn't keep up at the speed that I was pushing her. So
Yeah.
now I feel like we have a much happier, I just have a lot more understanding and grace for her learning. And just, it's not about just keeping her in line. It's about, you know, we have the same goal. You know, we want to get her reading.
Truly teaching your child, and not just what you're saying, stay in line because you're supposed to, and that's what we're supposed to do. It's like truly teaching them and truly meeting their needs.
Yeah.
Truly. No matter what it looks like.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you both, Amanda and Katie. I love you both.
Thank you.
I wish we could get together.
I know. I know.
Me and Katie are like, let's do a summit in real life. We'll be
honestly there. Live.
Yeah. One of those destination things.
Yeah,
you know? Okay. We'll think about it.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.